Welcome back to Talkin Shop. I am your host, Brandon Bombardo. Today's episode, it's going to be all about the journey, not the quick win. We're talking about refining your craft and taking real deliberate steps towards growth. That's something we're going to do today. Because obviously, let's be honest here. No one person becomes great overnight. Whether you're a fabricator, a woodworker, machinist, business owner, greatness is earned through discipline, repetition, and refinement. So that's what we want to talk about. You know, shops that grow are the ones that never stop learning. They never stop improving. They never settle for just good enough. But of course, first though, I want to introduce DJ Cool, aka Nick Peters.
Why DJ Cool?
Because
Gonna let me clear my throat?
you're gonna let you clear your throat.
Yeah.
He was sick last week.
It's been a week.
He may sound a little bit foggy right now, but he's here. So being a trooper.
We're on the mend.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
We're glad to have you back, Nick.
Yeah, I had no idea that ear infections in adults were such a giant deal.
Yeah, they are.
very concerned.
It's a big deal.
And I'm like, kids get them all the time. Who
I
cares?
know. It's different when you're a kid, though.
Yeah,
When
apparently.
you get older, things...
They explained it, but I wasn't listening. I just wanted to go home.
Because you had an ear infection.
Yeah, I just wanted to go home.
No, it's actually crazy because you attended the show last week.
Yep.
And that was the last day I saw you. And the next day you came down with the sickness. You got down with the sickness, right? Look at that.
Yeah.
Two
music references.
Two music
in the first
references
2
in one
minutes.
episode. That's good.
Impressive.
But no, you got sick, and then I haven't seen you since. And then you're back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
So I'm sitting extra far away like this.
I don't have anything contagious, so
I
you're
know.
fine.
Actually,
I did for a couple of days, but then I took the stuff, and
Yeah.
apparently I'm fine. And then
that's what I appreciate about you, is you were very honest. Like, hey, I'm not feeling great, so I'd rather not come get everybody sick at work.
right.
I'm going to still log in and work, which, dude, you're a rock star. Appreciate you. And kept the wheels turning on the bus while you were on the mend.
They kept going round and round, that's for sure.
They were going round and round.
Another song reference? That's 3. Jeez, man.
We are
we need to stop.
just
We need to
awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing else. I was going to try to insert a fourth cheesy one, but
Well, you can't force it.
That's why I gave up.
Happen.
That's why I gave up. So, anyways, welcome back.
It's good to be back, actually.
Yeah,
Today, it's
Go ahead.
people. I think a lot of people think that working from home would be really great. It actually kind of sucks.
I agree.
Like you just sit in a quiet house at a quiet desk. Like you don't have anybody to make fun of. You don't have anybody to talk trash to.
I think
Like,
it
it's
works
being
for a
around the
certain
people.
person.
I mean, I suppose it's not. It wouldn't be my thing.
It's not my thing either.
I could never do it.
100%. And I agree with that. Like, my personality is not conducive to a work at home by myself kind of person.
Right. So much so that I even tried to force myself to come back on
I
Wednesday,
know.
and you're like, please
Yeah.
get out of here.
It's true. He showed up here and I was like, why are you here? Go home.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah.
no, it's true. Again, I think it's a very different experience than I think people who've never worked at home are like, oh man, working at home would be great. And the only reason people truly say that, I think, is because they think I could be in my jammies. I don't have to like go to the office. I can screw around. But if you're like highly motivated to keep going, then it's just an inconvenience.
Yeah. Like
So-
I still got up each morning and got showered and got dressed, and for whatever reason,
That's the way I was
that's just
when I had to be at home when I was sick last year. That's the way I was. I still acted like I was going to work every day. I even put on a ShopSabre shirt every day.
I did not do that. I didn't wear a shirt.
Okay. There it is. So
Just
anybody
kidding.
who got an email from Nick last week was shirtless. So there it is.
I had socks on.
Cool. Thanks. Well, let's move on with that. So, anyways, today I want to talk about refining your craft, as I said, Nick, because so many people want to grow. And I think this is a good conversation for us to have. You know, how many people you hear that want to grow their businesses, but they don't want to truly invest in the things that will help them do that. You know, if that
Like it's just going to happen on its own.
right, like they kind of just like, well, I'm going to grow. They're going to say it's going to, so it's going to, right? But
Sure.
you know, whether that's the people around them they have to invest in or the customers they have, right? Sometimes you have to reinvest your customers or the products, right? Sometimes your products just aren't conducive for growth.
It's true.
They're great for a quick hit, right? But they're
Yep.
maybe not a growth driver, right? And I think there's growth in everything if you refine your craft enough, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think as long as you're committed to getting better and making things better, it's going to
Right.
naturally make your business better and your product growth better.
I think so.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
if you just keep putting out something that maybe not necessarily mediocre, but it's just good enough,
Right.
maybe people will kind of
is
realize
industry
that
standard,
it's just,
right?
yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
it's not bad. It's just what everybody does. And
but that's not going to make people want to come back to use you, right?
Correct.
If they can get the same thing for, I don't know, maybe less money. Like if you're charging a premium for something,
right.
that's just like what you can get anywhere else. What's the reason for people to come back and keep buying from you?
You know what that reminds me of is it's actually a good analogy. I'm glad you used that because it reminds me of like consider McDonald's versus Chick-fil-A, right?
It's not even a comparison,
But they are though.
Yeah.
In reality, right? They're both
sure.
fast food, right?
Yes.
So McDonald's, and I don't know if you know this, but McDonald's makes like $4 million. It's around that. It might be a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower, but it's like $4 million per store on average. And Chick-fil-A, they make $9 million per store. Now, granted, McDonald's makes more money because it's a bigger company, because they're just sheer numbers, right? They have more stores.
Yep.
So admittedly, like you drive to anywhere and there's a McDonald's on every corner, it seems like, right? So there's more opportunities, but like Chick-fil-A focuses on perfecting their craft, if you will, right? And they want to operate at perfection to grow their reputation, not just relying on sheer volume or numbers, right?
For sure.
Like, admittedly, Chick-fil-A customers, and I don't have this number, okay? This isn't a real number, but I admittedly feel like, sorry, I'm adjusting myself in my chair here. Admittedly, I feel like Chick-fil-A, I bet they have a greater returning customer history.
And you know why? I think it's because I always say when I go to restaurants, if you're really good at one thing,
right,
you're going to be successful. What does Chick-fil-A do? They do all chicken.
Yeah, chicken.
Right? Like if you go to a restaurant and they have burgers, Mexican, Italian, all sorts of different foods.
Yeah.
It's
Pizza.
it's usually not like super, it's good,
Yeah.
but it's not like ridiculously good.
Right.
Or if you go to something that's specific to like burgers or specific to pizza or whatever, they're specific to one thing and don't have 400 things on their menu, they're going to be really good at those 10.
Right.
Instead of trying to be average at 400 things.
You know, and that's a great analogy there because it's true. Like I can truly, and I can't speak for the world, and I don't know if it's true that McDonald's has better or worse returning customers, but I can say for me personally, I will go back to, I don't eat McDonald's, like hardly ever. If I go to McDonald's, I get chicken nuggets, just for the record, because I love some chicken nuggets.
Yeah, well, who doesn't?
Yeah, they're good. Chicken nuggets with sweet and sour sauce. And
I mean, honey mustard, but whatever.
I can do that too. That's good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I can settle for that and I wouldn't be upset. But those are the two sauces, like, for sure. But my kid, the only reason I go there is because my kids are starving. They want something. We're running to sports and that's what's on the corner.
Yep.
But
and you don't have to go out of the way to, you're going to go past one no matter where you go.
Correct. But I was just going to say, if I'm driving down that same road and there is a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's, we are hitting Chick-fil-A 100% of the time.
Absolutely. 100%.
Like I will go there over and over and over and over. And admittedly, even my son, who is 8 years old, he asks people for Chick-fil-A sauce at restaurants. And I laugh every time because he can't grasp the concept that Chick-fil-A sauce is a specific sauce for Chick-fil-A only. But my son will literally be like, "Can I have chicken tenders and french fries? And do you have Chick-fil-A sauce?" And the waitresses laugh every time, right? The waiter or the waitress.
No, we have Perkins sauce.
They're like, "Well, we got our own sauce." And he's like, "Okay." Like he just doesn't understand it, right?
Yep.
But it's just funny because like even at 8 years old, he wants Chick-fil-A, right?
Sure.
And that's becoming synonymous with something, right? And I think there's so many businesses that need to aspire to be that way in their craft, is that when you understand your growth levers, right? Or in this case, you have to understand your growth goal first, and I guess my question to our listeners would be, if I asked you today, could you confidently explain to me your future goals?
How many do you think could?
I don't think as many as they think they could.
But I bet people don't really think about it, right?
Because their goals are generic.
But you get so wrapped up in like the day to day and just trying to like keep things going, right? Do you really think?
Well, I think it's
all the
because
way
they're,
through it?
again, going back to my statement, I think their goals are generic. Everybody can give me a generic answer.
Sure.
What's your growth goals? Oh, what's your future goals? I want to grow.
I want to grow 10%.
I want to be bigger. Right? But they can't truly explain confidently their goal.
Right.
My goal is to develop this many products over the next certain amount of time to achieve this sort of a result, right? Like they aren't confident enough explaining their growth goal.
And how are you going to get there?
Yeah, or their future goals. Correct. And that can be about anything in your life. What's your future goals in life? Where do you want to be in 5 years? What are you doing to get there? And so that's something we're going to dive into today. I kind of went on a tangent, and I apologize because we are further into the episode than we normally would be, but
we're almost done. We haven't even got to the topic.
I know. I'm sorry about that. I've already finished it.
I got questions.
But you got questions, exactly. And that's why I realized, I looked down and saw the paper and I realized you brought questions, and I'm already diving into this week's episode. And this is what happens when you're out of the office for a week. I get lost.
I have 2 you're prepared for.
Ooh.
And 1 that you're not.
2 and 1. So 3.
Correct.
I'm prepared
It's
for.
really good math.
I like
you must have went to school in New Prague.
I did.
You're married to a teacher. That's why you know 2 plus 1.
That's why I know that one. Go.
Number 1.
Yeah.
On Fiber Sabre,
Yep.
how much oxygen does it consume compared to my plasma with compressed air?
Is this the one I'm prepared for or the not prepared for one?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, no.
You'll have the answer.
How much oxygen is consumed compared to a plasma? Is that right?
Yeah, with compressed air.
I don't have an answer for that. I don't have a perfect answer for that because admittedly, Fiber Sabre or fiber lasers, right? And plasma cutters or Sidekick in our case, or Shopmaster, they both can operate on compressed air. So, admittedly, you can run compressed air with both machines. Now, head to head, compressed air demand on a fiber laser is significantly higher than that of a plasma. It takes more compressed air to run a fiber laser appropriately than it does a plasma.
Sure.
But I guess the other thing is, like, comparably, like a Hypertherm Power Max, like, you're not going to run oxygen through it. Now, if you have a high def plasma, you can run oxygen in that too. So then they're both the same. But the advantage to a fiber laser is that you can run oxygen with it, right? When air plasma can't run oxygen. So the oxygen is a bonus operating feature, but you do not have to run oxygen to run the machine. So the workload will determine the consumption. So I can't really answer that because ultimately oxygen is relatively affordable. I mean, when you consider buying like a 6-pack of oxygen, it's not that much money. It lasts quite a while when you consider what you're creating. The finish that you achieve with oxygen is a better finish. It looks kind of like a polished, shiny edge. But I mean, it's relatively affordable. And in most instances, the costs are well below that of the product margin that you're making. I mean, that's the easiest way I could put it. So I don't know that hopefully that was the one I wasn't prepared for, because if you charge appropriately, that's the answer I can give you. Final answer. Ding.
Fair enough. Moving on.
Okay.
Question number 2.
Yeah.
On the Imagination Corporation video.
Yep.
You'll never get this by hand, just saying.
That is a good comment. And I am prepared for that one because I actually answered that one online once. And I said the same thing there. I will never challenge a craftsman because there's some really stupidly talented people out there, and they will prove you wrong by you saying that statement. So that's being said, I will never get that finish 100% correct, because I think the comment was, you'll never get it, right? Like pointing at me, you'll never get it. You think they were doing it evil? Like, you'll never.
Challenge accepted?
Heck, no, not challenge accepted. Because a guy like me will never achieve that kind of result without using the right tool.
Sure.
Right? Like
the
for
person
me,
doing it obviously had lots of experience.
yeah, the CNC Imagination Corporation is an incredible company. Like, I think the world of those guys. They do some really awesome stuff over there. And CNC automation obviously allows more businesses to be versatile and to do things like that than ever before.
Sure.
Admittedly, Imagination Corporation is one of those companies that could do it without it, right? He's done it, but I think CNC just allows it to happen in a more efficient way for him. Adding capabilities that can, I don't know, take a lifetime to learn, to perfect, and you're doing it in a fraction of the time and cost. So
sure.
I don't know. Not to mention it's faster, and who doesn't want their project done now?
Fair enough. Ready for the third one?
All right. So this is the one I'm not ready. Wasn't supposed to be ready?
Yeah, you weren't ready for this one.
Okay, I'm not ready for this one.
So when you drift in your Tesla,
oh God, here we go.
do you call it the electric slide?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Sweet. Just curious.
It's a terrible joke.
It was funny.
The electric slide. I like that.
That's funny.
All you Tesla drivers out there, tell me, do you call it an electric slide when you drift?
Guess we'll find out.
Comment below.
Leave it in the comments.
There we go. The electric slide. I actually like that.
That's all I got.
I'm going to use that one.
You said it was terrible. Now you like it.
I do like
it. It just took a second for you to understand.
It took me a second. I like it.
Didn't get
and you know what's awesome about it? Fourth reference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So now you got to blare that song while you.
Hopefully Alex has the electric slide playing in the background right now.
Really
To
good
the
idea.
left,
You know what I
to
hope
the
he does? I hope when we talk about me working from home, he like puts a muscular body on me with no shirt.
What?
I'm just saying, because I said I didn't have a shirt on,
Oh,
just
that's
socks
right.
when
I
I was
forgot.
working at home. He's gonna put
Forgot
this
about
big
that.
muscle dude on me.
I hope he just puts a big muscle dude pinning you down to the
Oh
ground.
my god,
Oh, that's funny.
I shouldn't have given him any stupid ideas.
That's awesome.
He's got enough of those on his own.
Yeah, he's got plenty of them. I like them.
All right, well, we're done with that.
Okay, let's move on.
We
then.
can move on to some stuff that makes a little bit of sense.
Nothing makes sense anymore. I think your fever went to your head.
Something. Haven't had a fever. It's just been like so massively stuffed up. I felt like my face was going to explode.
That's not good.
No.
I'm sure the viewers love hearing that.
Well,
moving on.
Way more graphic, but I wasn't.
Yeah, no, it's true. What were we talking about today?
Mastery being built and not bought.
That's actually true. We were talking about mastery being built, not bought. I like that one, built, not bought. I think everyone wants instant results. That's what we were talking about, right?
In our world today, they do for sure.
Right. And so, like, to me, like, you hear it often, like they want more precision, or they want more output, or they want more revenue, right? More money. But the one thing that is true and will always remain true, and I believe this to be true, and I've said true a bunch now, is mastery takes time. Is that right?
Yes, because I don't think mastery ever truly happens.
Correct.
Because you can always get better.
Right.
I think.
And I've had people argue that with me, that they don't believe that's right. But it's, I don't know, it's built in-house. And I mean that because you've spent hours upon hours learning your equipment or your craft or your tools or your software, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
It's developed in the mistakes that you've made that have taught you what you don't do,
Yep.
like what does not work. And it sharpens you in those moments, right? Because you figure out a way to do something when sometimes you least expect it. Like, how do I do this now? Because it didn't go how I expected it to. And instead of doing something just fast, you have to do it right.
For sure.
And sometimes fast and right are the same answer, right? But majority of the time you have to go slow first to figure it out. And
I think when you say going slow or slowing down, doesn't necessarily mean like, I don't know, it's not a bad thing.
no, I mean like
you still need to be productive, obviously, but you can take a little bit of a step back and not try to rush through things and make sure you're doing it properly, right?
Well, I just think it goes back to like driving a car. You can remember the first time you drove a car, like you did everything slower.
For sure.
Not purposefully, right? But you like made sure you were doing it like, okay, I got the car turned on, I put it in gear, and I do like at some point, I don't care if you learned to drive when you were 6. There was a time that you were slower at it than you are today, right? Yep, you get in naturally now, and I think half the people are putting their seatbelts on while they're going down the road still, like before where you were like very like methodical in your thought process.
Yep.
And so I think many times, like I put it in an employee perspective, right? Many times you've seen an employee fail, right? We've seen it. And a lot of times you've seen people fail simply because they go too fast. Like it's probably the most common mistake in any new job is when people do something wrong, it's because they were trying to go too fast. And I think like with CNC machines and CNC success, it's no different. I mean, you can buy the best machine in the world, ShopSabre, and if you don't invest in refining your craft itself, you'll never reach its full potential. Our machine doesn't make your product better.
Right.
I mean, it does. It makes your product better, but not better. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have a poor product design, just because the machine cuts it clean doesn't mean that the product is going to last.
For sure. Yep.
And so being successful with your equipment is more than just good equipment, right? Good equipment is a step in the right direction, but it's about being a good student. You have to understand what you can and can't do. And I think some of the best shops that we have, and some of the best shops that we work with aren't chasing shortcuts. That's the one thing I've learned. They're always chasing excellence. And sometimes excellence comes with a little bit more invested time and perfection, right?
I mean, I think, everything does, right? If you put a little bit more thought and time and effort into it, it's going to eventually give you better results in the long run, hopefully. Like just trying to rush through something and, like you said, cutting corners or thinking you can do it this way because it saves me 3 minutes.
Right.
It's not necessarily going to make a positive impact just because you did a little bit faster.
One thing that I've noticed on that is like people who try to like make their machines go as fast as they possibly can. And then they end up getting, it's because they're pushing the machine beyond the tooling capability or beyond their vacuum hold down capability or whatever they're working in, right? And yeah, they get the part done, but their finish isn't as clean as it could be.
Yep.
And then they're like, well, I got the part done 3 minutes faster. And then they spend 4 minutes cleaning it up.
So you're down negative a minute anyway.
Right. And like they don't realize it though, because they're only calculating time on the machine. They don't calculate how much time their employee is spending in the shop doing something.
Because they're so used to that employee doing it anyways before they got the machine.
So to them, it's still faster. They view it as 3 minutes,
Yep.
per part instead of 10 minutes per part before.
Yep.
Where it's like, yeah, but you could be truly 4 minutes into your part and no post-process.
And that time you spent finishing or smoothing out or whatever, it could be, used doing another drawing or doing whatever.
And this is something we talked to Nick Frost at Frost CNC about, right? When he was on the show, we were talking about tooling and how he was like, sometimes people don't get the speeds and feeds right, and that affects their performance. And it's like, that's the same thing with CNC. And so like, to me, the small steps add up, right? And growth doesn't mean taking these giant leaps or jumps, right? Like you're not jumping all the way down the stairs, right?
Right. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. Most of the time, it's the small, constant things that you do or steps that you take that change everything.
Yep.
And often it's the things that, are right in front of you. I think that's the biggest thing for most people is like, they're looking for like this big giant win. And it's often the small little things right in front of them the whole time.
Yep.
It's how many people don't take the time to properly train their team to understand why, not just how, right? Why do we do it this way? Not just how do we do it?
Well, and I think that's a really good one. I think if you have employees that know why you have them doing the things that maybe they don't enjoy,
right,
or the little things that seem like they're kind of maybe pointless or a waste of time, they understand why you have to do those things to get where you want to go, right? Instead of just, if you don't have the understanding of why you're doing something, it cannot make sense sometimes, right?
Something I say to sales guys all the time. This is something actually I say to a lot of employees. It's
get to work.
You get to work. No, it's something, and you've probably heard me, Nick, say it to them in our meetings. Something I've asked often is like, what would you do if this was your company? Right?
Yeah.
Have you heard me ask that to the guys?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And the reason I ask that question is because I want them to genuinely think about ShopSabre from their own perspective. Because it's easy to look at it from an outside perspective of like, whatever. But I want them to understand that, like, when I talk to a sales guy, like, treat every single lead like it's your company. Because if you paid for the business to, or the advertising to get that lead, how would you treat that lead?
Right.
Probably differently than if you don't care, right? And so that's our mentality around here is like, what would you do if this was your company? And I think that mentality, instilling it in your crew can do a lot, but then upgrading the processes to be smoother and more efficient for them. Because at the same time, if they're going to give you their feedback, if this was my company, this is how I would do it, then you have to be willing to look at it from that perspective. And sometimes that means you tell them like, that's not going to work for us, right?
Yep.
But sometimes it means upgrading steps, right? And the sales guys or even, tech guys here will say, hey, I've noticed this. If we do this differently, I think this, and we can look at it and be like, that's actually a really good idea.
But the key to that is to be willing to listen to it and have a discussion about, even if you don't agree with it or don't think it would work, like at least listen and have the discussion, right? Because if you just start telling your employees no every single time they bring something to you, they're going to eventually stop caring, stop trying to make things better, and stop bringing things to you if they know they're just going to get shut down every time.
Sometimes just give your employees a small win, right? Let them win once in a while, right? So, the other thing is, and this one's the hardest for people, is maintaining your machines, maintaining your equipment. I think so many people, and I hear it a lot. Oh, we're so busy, we just don't have time. You don't have time to do stuff that is required to keep things precise and moving, right?
Right. So then a year from now when your machine breaks down because you didn't maintain it,
right,
then what are you going to do?
And let's be honest, machines always break down when it's most inconvenient.
For sure.
And so if you don't take the time now, it's the same thing. Somebody taught me this a long time ago, is take time for your health before your health makes you take time.
For sure.
Because it's the truth.
Yep.
Like if you don't take care of yourself, no different than your machine, if you don't take care of it, eventually it's going to force you to.
Yeah, I mean, that 5 minutes a week you might spend on maintenance on your machine is going to be a hell of a lot more worth it than going a month or two without it when it breaks down and you got to wait for a new one to get made for you, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, depending on what machine it is or what you're running, exactly.
For sure.
And then you think about, the other thing is revisiting old designs. revisiting old pricing, to reflect your true value. Like oftentimes I think companies are afraid to take price increase because, well, our customers won't pay it, but they will pay it.
They will because you've given them a reason
for the value, right? Like I would rather ShopSabre's price be what it is today than what it was 20 years ago with the added value we have today.
100%.
Because 20 years ago, our support was a lot leaner, right? Yep. The resources that we had available to the customer were a lot less. Like I believe the experience today is even better than it was as we've grown, right? Sure. And not to say my dad and I weren't doing as good back then. Like I think we were working our tails off.
But you had two people.
Right. But there was days that, I'll be honest, like we were getting our tails kicked, right? And so having people around us that are awesome, like I just think is a better experience.
And I mean, customers know that.
Right. And the product's better. Like admittedly, like we build a better product today than we did, 20 years ago simply because of technology.
Right.
We use things that weren't available back then or weren't affordable back then. We have tooling that builds this machine or this equipment that we didn't have access to back then.
Right.
And so admittedly, our company has gotten better with time. And so you have to be willing to do small things like that where you're adjusting and revisiting, stuff and changing designs because you can do it better. We've changed machine designs because now we can do it better. And so I think each small improvement, it's going to compound over time and those steps turn into those leaps you were looking for, right? They're little steps at a time, but the real growth happens with time.
Right.
And you look back and you're like, holy crap, how did we get here?
Did all the little things.
Right. Well, it's just like a road trip. If you're going to drive from here to the other side of the country, you do it each mile at a time, right? And then by the time you get there, you're like, man, it didn't seem like that long,
Yeah. Yep.
But you do it because you just started driving. And so, I think the role of, I don't even know the word that I'm looking for here. I think we're talking about like refinement of your tooling. And, when you refine your craft, it also means choosing tools that let you elevate your work, right? Because I think that's a big part of it too, is people choose the wrong tool for the job.
Do the things that help, right? And don't make it harder.
Right. Yeah, it's even as something as crazy. Like, I'm going to think back to old ShopSabre days when we had Microsoft, right? We all use Microsoft still, but we had like back then, Microsoft Outlook used to be like Outlook 6, Outlook 7. Now it's just Office 365 or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
But I think about it back then, like we wouldn't upgrade. We're not going to upgrade. We're not going to spend the money on that, right? Like save your money where you can.
Yep.
And then we would like run into all these bugs and these problems and you're constantly fighting the software, right? And so I just think about like upgrading your software, and now we have like more automation in our software. So like when an order gets placed, it sends an email automatically to an internal, person to let them know like, hey, so-and-so's order has been put in, so make sure you do this, right?
Yep.
We're like in the old way of doing it because our versions were outdated. I had to like send a manual email to you to let you know, hey, Nick, just so you know, Jake's order's in, like make sure you do, and if I forgot or if it happened at night or on the weekend, like you hope the next morning that you remember to send the email. And it just, I don't know. And back then you had to have TeamViewer to log into your email to see it because you didn't have the remote access to have your email everywhere. Because with Office 365, you get your license anywhere.
Yep.
Back then you used to have like the download and it was just, you've got mail.
And you didn't have cell phones that could connect to it immediately or stay connected all the time. Just all the little things that
just crazy
changed and added up.
Yeah, you think about it. It's like, you're fine tuning your CNC settings the same way.
Yeah.
Right? With time, you adjust things for tooling and your goals and your material and whatever. But I think for a lot of people, they have to get it out of their head that their goal isn't just to work harder, right? Like it's about, it's the old statement, right? You work smarter, not harder, right? How many times have we heard that in our lives? Like, I guess for me, I grew up with that one. Like, work smarter, not harder.
But it makes sense, though. I
don't think we understand it, though, as people. Like, admittedly.
People think that by saying that, you're meaning you don't want to work hard.
Right.
But that's not, I don't think that's the case at all.
I think
you're just using the tools properly
right,
to do things quicker and easier.
It's a buzzword, is why. People just use it because it sounds cool. Like, work smarter, not harder. But they couldn't explain to you what it means.
Right.
Like explain work smarter, not harder. And then somebody would look at you like, well, that just means I'm not going to work as hard. No, like you said, it's not about that. It's your tools around you should push you towards higher precision.
Correct.
Right? Or better finish quality, or more repeatability, or more production. Like they're doing more with less, right?
Yep.
When your tools evolve with your skills or your mastery, right? You create a cycle of a process. And that process is easier than doing it the hard way.
Well, and I think it just goes back to what we've always talked about is don't be afraid to embrace change or embrace technology or embrace the things that make your life easier.
Well, I think like oftentimes, especially in today's world, like we're willing to sacrifice quality for price. I'm going to buy the cheap one.
Right.
Right. And I think cheap tools often result in cheap results.
Sure.
And
because now you bought that tool 5 times.
Right. Well, whether it's even software, right?
Yeah,
cheap software or cheap material, or in our case, cheap CNC machines, right? Like if you buy cheap, you should expect cheap results, cheap quality, cheap support, cheap everything. Right?
You might get lucky once in a while.
Yeah.
Or once here and there with, something that might work out a little bit, but
in the
long run, you're not gonna.
Yeah. My favorite are people though that demand expensive results from cheap things.
Good luck.
Yeah. Like you can't expect that. Like you're going to get exactly what you pay for. Right. And
usually,
I think ShopSabre is proof of that point, right? We've seen countless customers at ShopSabre take that exact journey. And I'm not pleased to admit that, but like they buy something for else the first time. They don't buy from us. And admittedly, that frustrates me because I want to be everybody's first purchase, right? But sometimes people have to learn the hard way.
But how many of those people that end up coming back say that they wish they would have listened the first time?
A lot. And that's what I'm saying.
That's the thing. Like you educate them so much,
yeah,
and they can only make the decision they make, right? They're still their choice. But then they come back and they're like, yep, you were right.
Right.
I should have listened. It wasn't the right way to go in a different direction.
Sometimes it's almost better for us when somebody does buy their second machine the second time. Because when they buy their first machine as us, right? So we always say buy your second machine the first time. It's sometimes less clear on how good it is because they don't know better.
It's true.
But when they buy somebody else's junk first and then they come here and they're like, dang, like I really didn't realize what I was giving up.
Yep.
And it's like they didn't just buy a CNC, but they're buying the relationship, right? And it's they didn't just buy a CNC and expect magic. They refined their craft, right? Using our equipment. And so they learn, they experimented, they adjust, they keep pushing forward. And admittedly, they realize that the equipment is their limitation. And so now they're producing work that sets them apart from the competition because now they have all of that experience and a good machine.
Right.
Versus not realizing how good the machine is because they learn all that on our machine and then they're like, well, this is what everybody should get, right?
Yep.
But they don't realize that like it's really not like that everywhere. And I think it's what sets us apart from our competition, really. And they really, I don't know, their work that they're producing now is setting them apart from their competition, and it's going to help them believe in their growth and not the gimmicks, right?
Right.
So buying cheap machines with cheap support often results in cheap results. I think that's a fair statement.
Correct.
And 9 out of 10 times that's a fair statement.
And
you
it's
might get
definitely not going to lead to growth, I don't think.
I mean, sometimes you just fall into growth. But quality equipment,
not long term though.
Right. That's true. Yeah. Quality equipment costs more sometimes up front, but I just think the support helps you become a mastery of it and then produces noticeable results in the long run. So to your point, like, yeah, long run, the long game, no, cheap equipment will always produce cheap results.
Right.
And
we've heard it from enough customers in our time that the results speak for themselves,
right.
really. Like
Agreed.
What they've done, where they've taken their companies. I mean, what did we talk about last week? The guy that doubled his.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's just there's way too many stories to even try to make it seem like it's not real.
Right, exactly. And we've been doing it for too long to say that. Right. So, so many people, I think in today's world, and this isn't CNC related, but this is just in the world, like they want to blame someone else. And yet they fail to accept their own responsibilities within their decisions, right?
Yep.
And that, I don't know, they have to want to learn it. They have to want to understand their craft. They have to want to use the resources around them. Like, how many people are afraid to call their support around them, right? quality support does make a difference. And so being able to like count on your friends or count on your software provider or your material specialist or whoever you buy from.
It's okay to ask for help.
Right.
I mean, no matter what, I mean, anything with anything in life.
But like they don't want to ask for help, but then they want to blame somebody when something goes wrong. Right.
Sure.
And I think that's what ShopSabre is all about, is like giving you somebody to call and giving you somebody that makes it possible for you to grow using better tooling, right? And refining your processes and building something that is going to last. And I think it's so often that gets overlooked. Like rather than just waiting for something to go wrong and then blame somebody, like let's work through it. Let's talk our way through it. Let's figure it out.
Yep.
And I think that's, my big takeaway from this entire thing would be like refinement is the foundation of your growth. You have to refine what you're doing in order to take that next step. And you can't rush that process. Sometimes it just takes time. You have to just embrace the time that's going to have to pass. And every project, every mistake, every lesson is a step towards that final result of growth. And you're becoming a master of whatever you do.
Yeah. Making mistakes is the only way you're going to learn how to be better, right? I mean, that's in life, business, all of it. I mean, Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Right. You literally can't control how fast others move, right? And you can't control how well, that's going to affect you, right? I mean, somebody else not doing something, sometimes you can't control that. But you can control how well you're going to grow through those mistakes. And I use this as an example because my son last week in his hockey game, he did something I've never seen him do, and it was kind of awesome. He skated out to play the puck on a power play. He's never done that. I've never seen him do it. He's a very talented skater. And coaches for years have told him, like, you should just go get the puck. Go do it. And admittedly, the game's getting faster and faster, and he's realizing, like, none of these other goalies play the puck. I can do that.
Yep.
And so, like, on his own last week, we were winning 1-0, and we were in the third period, and he had been on 8 periods of scoreless, right? He had 2 shutouts in a row, and then he was on 2 more periods now. And they scored on him. They scored on him doing some wraparound thing. And so he was bummed. And then it proceeded for the next, like, 7.5 minutes of going back and forth with them, just like barrage of goals, right? We ended up 3-3, right? 2 minutes to go in the game, power play. My kid decides, now is my time to shine. Puck gets blasted down to our end. My kid skates out, top of the circles, grabs the puck. Mind you, I'm standing there against the glass, like, what are you doing? Get back in the net, And so we're sitting there or whatever, and he grabs the puck, and you see him, like, he scans the ice quick, and his buddy is skating towards him. And he sends the puck towards his buddy, right? Well, it didn't go how he planned. He sends the puck towards his buddy. It bounces off his buddy's stick. Very hard pass to a very fast-moving player. They're 11. Didn't look like the NHL, right? Hits the kid's stick, bounces off the kid's stick, and lo and behold, bounces right to the other team. Caden now realizes he is in no position to make this save. He skates as hard as he can back towards the net and then lays it out, just dives out, puts his stick out in front of him, and he hits the puck. It hits his stick, but it hits his stick just perfect enough to tip it to the top shelf of the net. Puts it in the net, right? And now he's laying on his stomach, buried in the net. He slides into the net and goal. Now it's 4-3. We go on to lose that game. We lost 4-3. And that kid was absolutely devastated. Like, tears rolling down his face after the game. His coaches are like, dude, you're good. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, he comes out and he looks at me, and you could tell he thinks, like, oh my God, Dad's never going to let me hear the end of this. You could just see it in his face, right? And he walks out there and he looks at me, and I looked at him square in his eyes, and I said, kid, I'm so proud of you. And he looked at me and he's just like, wait, why? I'm like, I'm proud of you for trying that. Like, that mistake is the best thing that could have happened to him. Because it taught him more in that moment than any, like, if that puck, he'd played it perfectly, it went to that kid, and like, kid skated around and scores a goal, he does it every time because he thinks like it's
100%.
It works every time. But like, by it not working, it now makes him question, like, is it the time to go get the puck? Like, am I making the right decision, right? And this last week now in his game last night, he played the puck again last night, but he didn't skate all the way out there. He let it come back down, and then he grabbed it, and then he played it into the corner, and it was like a much more thought out way of handling the puck.
Yeah.
And then he got back to the net and was like ready to go. And I just like, I laughed because it was just like, in that moment, he learned so many valuable lessons. And one of them was, you can really look like an idiot real quick if you do something stupid, you know?
Yep.
And so my point is it's okay to make mistakes. We all do it, right? Mistakes are going to help us grow, but it's not okay to not learn from those mistakes.
Right.
And that's the one thing that I think where people struggle the most is that when you make a mistake, if you brush it off and act like it's not that big of a deal, well, then you made a mistake for no reason.
Yep.
But when you make a mistake and you can learn from it, ultimately you're going to grow, you're going to find success. And so my long story there was hopefully something that makes you realize that even at 11 years old, when you make mistakes, you're learning from them. And as adults, we aren't immune to that, right? We're still going to make mistakes. We're still going to learn from them. But it kind of brings me to my motivational quote of the week, which is every day is a chance to get better. Don't waste it. And it's a simple phrase, but every day is truly a chance to be better, get better, do something better. And you don't want to waste that, because if every day you go through your life and you don't try to improve your craft, you don't do something differently, you don't try to learn something, you're just wasting it.
Right.
You're going through the motions, doing the same thing and expecting different results, and you're just not going to get it. So at the end of the day, if you can't say I'm doing something different, might be wrong, but I'm going to do something different to try to see if it works, and then measure it. Don't do something you can't see the consequences of, right? Like, don't take a risk that you can't truly gauge success on. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time.
Right.
Because you can't manage what you can't measure. And so you have to measure it. You have to be able to figure out, is this working? Is it not working? But be okay with saying, you know what? I'm going to measure it, and I might look like the biggest idiot in the world because it doesn't work, but I'm going to know it didn't work, and I'm going to be able to adjust based on those results.
I like it.
So
it's a good one.
Anything else?
No, I think it's closing time.
Closing.
I got it. See?
I like it.
That was good.
That was good. We're up to 5. Nice. So on this episode of Musical Moments, no, it's again, I think there's a lot to take away from this episode, and I hope that you found some moments that maybe helped you get out of your own head. Because I mean, we're at the end of the year. We're time where sometimes people are reflecting on how their year went. But the question I always ask my customers is, what are you going to do different right now to make next year different? Because if you don't start doing something different now for the end of the year, and you don't start setting up 2026 for growth or for change, why do you expect next year to be any different than this year?
You shouldn't be.
You shouldn't, right? You can't do the same thing and expect different results. It's just, you can't do it. Definition of insanity, right?
I'm just going to say the same thing.
You have to do something. And so get serious about making a difference in your next year. How are you going to grow your business? How are you going to grow your lifestyle? How are you going to change the way you're doing things? How are you going to give yourself more financial freedom? How are you going to give yourself more, personal freedom, mental freedom, whatever you're looking for? How are you going to do that? Think about it, what your goals are and where you're going. Got it?
Yep. I know what I'm going to do.
I'm proud of you for making it through this episode.
I'm going to start working from home to save my sanity. Just kidding.
No, you're not. You already said you don't like it.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? We let you try it. Didn't like it.
It's no fun to just be at home and not be able to make fun of Travis all day.
That's actually true. It's the truest statement ever. So if you got nothing else, then with that, thanks for tuning into Talkin Shop. With ShopSabre, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
Until next time, keep refining, keep improving, keep building, do something better. I don't know, anything that you can to improve yourself. Keep doing it every single day. Check you next time.